Hey everybody, Eric Wingman Peterson invite you to come into the Hangar today for episode 62. This is an inside look at Chris Roberts and the epic space adventure game Star Citizen, a big MMO coming soon to a PC near you. So what do we got this week? Well, we got an inside look at the Asteroid Hangar and room system. We have forum feedback with your questions and video, and an interview with our very own Mr. Goldshirt himself, Mark Skelton. Let's get to it. Well, what did we do last week? Well, we got to go to GDC. I mean, if you remember, we shot the show a couple weeks ago. So we had GDC last week. That meant myself, Chris Olivier, Sean Barton, Chelsea, Melissa. All of us were out at GDC last week interviewing thousands and thousands of candidates. It was really, really fun to get out there. We got to meet a lot of talented people. We're probably going to take a few weeks to get through all those resumes. But the one thing that got me going is a lot of people still didn't know about our game, and so they would see the trailers that we had up on the screen, and they would look at it and go, holy cow, that's amazing. And so I think we might have actually gotten a few Star Citizen converts out of that, and they'll help us spread the word, and we all know more people, more victims in the universe for us to kill. What else? Dogfighting. Yep, we are dogfighting. And today, we successfully play tested with the backend hosted on the web. That's right, we're getting there. We've had 8 people playing, we've got more than that, and it turned out that the 8-person limit was kind of a CryEngine thing. We've blown that out of the water now, and now we're expanding it across all the studios and play testing that to get that out to you. You'll get some inside looks at that. I think that we're gonna be showing some sneak peeks at dogfighting or the people behind dogfighting, and then we've got the big reveal on the 10th up at PAX East. Lots of major strides optimizing network traffic this week, so a lot of things happen on the dogfighting right now. The network is actually pretty stable. It's been there. We've had it going for 4 weeks, but as we add gameplay elements to it, it breaks it, and then we fix it, and then it breaks it, then we fix it, and it breaks it. Typical development. We have a lot of new hires. We got Rob Reiniger, Senior Technical Designer in Austin. We've got Julie Engelking. She's working with John Erskine on the publishing side. First time I've ever attempted to speak English. And we've got Lee Amerkoon, a VFX artist, and he said his job is to blow up. Oops, sorry, maybe that was redacted. In LA, we have James Pugh. He's Assistant Community Manager. You guys met him in the last MVP with Ben Lesnick. He's helping, and he actually picked the questions for forum feedback today. So get ready for that. Another 10 for the Chairman was released Monday. Always good to see Chris getting out there. It's fun to check out what he's doing. He's doing a great job answering those questions straight from subscribers. If you want to get direct access to the man himself, become a subscriber, get those questions in. And we had the next great Starship episode 1.8 was released last Friday. We had kind of an inside look at the Mustang, what's going on with that, and where the teams are at this point while we go on the hiatus to give them a chance to, build their ships, get them a little further along the pipeline. So check that out if you haven't seen it on YouTube right now. Well, as we mentioned earlier, we had the Asteroid Hangar. I think it's time to take a closer look.
Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Inside Cloud Imperium Games. This is where we take you behind the scenes to the various studios working on Star Citizen and sort of show you a little more in depth of the technology we're working on, the art, the concepts we're working on, and show you how we're putting together this incredibly ambitious game. So today we've got a bit of a treat. We're going to go up to, I would like to say sunny Montreal, but at this time of year it's a bit chilly, where Behavior is working on the planet side aspects of Star Citizen. So I'm going to pass you over to Sandi, who is up in Montreal right now, and she'll tell you more about it.
Salut, je suis Sandi, je suis présentement à Montréal, chez Behavior, pour rencontrer l'équipe qui travaille sur l'Asteroid Hangar.
Dave Richard, lead game designer. Stefan Horvath, level designer.
Phillip Ivanovich, tech lead artist. Corentin Chevan, art director.
Stéphane Beauchamp, lead programmer.
Guys, you brought some cold weather for me this morning. Oh my gosh, walking here was freezing. So is this exciting for you guys? And it's a different project from what you guys have been working on before.
Yeah, it's incredible. We're creating a whole universe, which is in a way super cool, in a way super worrisome in terms that we need to create a lot of assets to actually create those living worlds.
Their main focus right now is what we're calling the room system. And the room system is going to be the foundation of all the locations on the different planets you can land, and it will also be used on even bigger ships or space stations.
At Behavior, we've been tasked with the goal of creating the room system, which basically consists of an easy way for our designers and artists to create various assets and to be able to reuse them throughout either the hangar, planet-side locations, or even spaceships per se.
What's great about the room system is that we'll be able to expand it not only to hangars but also to planet side. So we'll be able to create dynamic location like shops that change on the fly based on the economy.
Even though CryEngine is a really powerful engine, Star Citizen has been pushing its content creation pipeline to its limits, requiring us to add new systems to help us remix and reuse our modular assets.
To do that, we've been using a system called the seed system, which allows designers to create basically a group of objects, but be able to change a subset of these objects easily without having to recreate basically copies all over the world of these objects.
It's really cool with the prefabs that we can start with something that's very gray box, that has no texture, that just gives the idea of a shape. And with the prefabs, all Phil would need to do is go into the engine and replace those shapes with the shapes that he would like.
So this core tech is going to be used for the hangars and then also other areas like shops or bars or other locations on the planet-side locations and the other bigger sort of spaceship locations. So it's a completely new tech that we're building from the ground up. And the first application of the room system is the Asteroid hangar, which is the hangar for the people that don't really want to be in the sort of I would say the safer areas of space or the more legitimate areas of space.
So, the Asteroid hangar. What is the Asteroid hangar?
So it's a hangar that will be found on some of the Euro location that we're building. So mostly lawless space. They're built so that they're really small and they feel like you can hide there, basically, as a pirate or not.
Donc la première chose qu'on a faite ici avant de commencer à même faire des concepts, c'est de bloquer les choses en 3D, juste pour avoir une bonne idée de la taille des pièces, puis comment elles allaient s'imbriquer les unes par rapport aux autres.
I'm pretty sure like Caterpillar and Constellation are currently the biggest we can fit. Yeah. But then there's still, much bigger ships out there. So it's also something that we needed to think about when designing the expansion. So at some point when the player will be able to, expand, he will be able to choose the type of room he needs for the type of ships he want to fit in.
We had to keep going back and forth because the size of the Caterpillar is quite large, as he's mentioned, and we had to take into account extra size on each side of the Caterpillar as it takes off. Maybe not necessarily every takeoff would be smooth, so your ship might move side to side, and we wanted to avoid making the player go through this tiny rabbit hole.
And crash inside his hangar or something.
Yeah, we kind of don't want the player to die in his own hangar.
That would be good.
So the first step was to block out a general idea of what sizes we wanted. So we wanted to have like a stock hangar where you'd start and you'd have your first ship, and then we would add on as extensions the larger pieces as they continue on. And as they follow the contour of the Asteroid hangar, we wanted to have something that really did feel organic in terms of and like biological when you look at the Asteroid hangar itself and where it comes from and how it was placed. So it didn't just feel like it just appeared there. With this all in mind, we wanted to keep the idea that we wanted to add on like room extensions, hangar customization to the max to allow the players to really make this feel like their own home, like housing for their ship. That's essentially what that is. So when you look at the Asteroid hangar now, in terms of this is the stock hangar where we wanted to have, as you see here, a cutlass. You have your command center, and you have the ceiling door, which would actually open up, and you'd basically fly in from outside your Asteroid hangar. You'd fly through it, and then you'd land inside this Asteroid hangar. We want to make this as cool as possible for everybody that's involved. From this point, you're going to be able to expand yourself. You're going to go up to these nubs and basically use your mobi glass. And you're going to allow it to make a new expansion. So you're going to add on a new ship, a new section. What that will also allow would be a new room expansion, which I'm talking about specialty rooms specifically. So what you've seen so far is a shooting range and a course, I guess, a trick course, where you can use the buggy and you can jump through hoops and whatnot. So when you go in your hangar, you will find some special spots. So basically attach point, just like with the ships, but for your hangar. And using the mobi-glass, you'll be able to access the hangar service. And in augmented reality, you'll be able to access that point, look for the rooms you want to add, buy it, install it, and then there's going to be a construction time. So you can get out at this point, go with your ship in space, and at some point you'll get a notice on your mobi-glass saying, hey, your hangar space is ready. And then you'll be able to go in and check your new space out.
When we speak about Asteroid, we obviously invoke the idea of rocks. And for the rocks, we did a lot of research because we had to find the perfect balance in between simplicity and complexity. The rocks need to breathe well and needs to have a nice silhouette.
Pour unifier tout ce côté organique et naturel des roches avec tout le côté plateforme très rectiligne, métallique qui a été fait par les humains, on est venu briser un petit peu le côté des structures manufacturées avec des plaques de travers, des câbles, des flaques d'huile et tout ça pour donner quelque chose de plus organique pour tout le côté fait par l'homme et tout le côté rocailleux. Dans le fond, on a essayé de le rendre un petit peu plus rigide pour baisser justement ce contraste entre ces deux parties importantes de l'astéroïde Hangar.
So for the control room, we can see that it's a bit messy, cluster. We wanted that feeling of a real hangar, like people are working, so there's oil, there's wires, it's messy and steams. Almost feel like a garage.
So we should be ready like yesterday, right? All done. I should get my caterpillar into the hangar and away we go.
Yeah, yay.
I hope you all enjoyed that sneak peek at the room system in the Asteroid hangar, and we'll catch you next week at Inside Cloud Imperium Games.
And the Asteroid hangar will come if you own a Cutlass. So if you don't have one of those, you might want to think about getting it. By the way, it's Sean Murphy, not Sean Barton. Sean Barton's somebody I worked with at another company in another life. Sorry, Sean Murphy. What else happened this last week? We had some fans drop by the office. Take a look at this. They brought in some barbecue. They brought in some beer. We got to give them a tour of the office. There's about 10 of them. We got to meet. Always good to meet some of the fans having a good time. And they got to show. One of the guys came all the way from Germany. It was his birthday. We sang him happy birthday. And of course, we managed to take a photo. And now it's time for
Forum feedback.
There it is. Forum feedback. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm good. Shall we just get right to I hear we have some interesting names picked out for me this week.
There are a couple that you might have some issues with.
Not today, Irving.
I saw your intro.
From Blackstone Zara. Do we have a place to combat cheaters in the persistent universe? Or do we have a team in place to combat cheaters?
Team in place. It's something we're discussing right now at launch. We don't really need to worry about that as much, but yeah, that's definitely something that is on the long-range roadmap and closer to the persistent universe. But we're aware of it, and we're very concerned.
And again, a lot of these things are going to be worked out. That's why we're doing the dogfighting module, and they can help us discover those. And not saying we want you to cheat, but we'll help discover those cheaters, and we'll make do what we have to do. From Captain Bosch, what kind of controller support are we going to have in Dogfight Module version 1? Will it be full HOTAS and rudder pedal support? Will you be creating custom profiles for popular HOTAS setups like the X52?
So we're starting out with HOTAS support.
Good.
Not necessarily every package up front, but we'll be adding over time. But we'll have some profiles set up, I'm sure, and we'll let users customize them as well. So
cool. Well, there you go. That's pretty cool. From Flukes, can you please elaborate on what you mean by private servers? Will people with supercomputers be able to host their own persistent universe, or will it only end up being something like a dogfighting module server?
Supercomputers, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have big rigs, but I'm not sure about supercomputers.
How many of you guys have a Cray?
Shall we play a game?
So it's more freelancer style. It's
right.
You set up your own mini persistent universe with a smaller player set.
Right.
It's not the same scale, but
Yeah, we don't want them out there competing with us. We want the big universe to be home with us, so everybody else gets there. So cool. From Globakilla. I almost got through this. That's pretty good. Globakilla. Okay. How will an aspiring bounty hunter be able to track player characters with bounties on their heads? Will we encounter our targets by chance, or will there be some mechanic that will help us find our mark?
B. So there is a thing called the person of interest system that we are working on that will enable you to actually hunt people down rather than just bumping into them accidentally at the mall. So
Star Citizen's Most Wanted, coming near person of interest service to you. From Heartsblade, a video question. Take it away.
Hey Wingman, Heartsblade here. I have a two-part question regarding the Avenger. In a recent Jump Point, Chris Roberts and Nathan Dearsley commented on the ability of the Avenger's wings to fold while it's on the ground. They also discussed the possibility of the single-seat Avenger having a folding jumpseat behind the pilot. Can you tell me if either of these design features are still in the works for the Avenger?
So that was a pretty cool video, and it was about Star Citizen. Well done and well executed. So those are the kind of videos we're looking for. So what do you think?
Short and to the point. So what you see in Jump Point, and part of the reason for Jump Point is you get to see what happens, the work in progress, that you're seeing the designing of a ship. And so a lot of these notes that you see at the beginning are the ideas that come out during that process.
Right.
But at the end, what the artist builds may change along the way and as further feedback happens. What you see at the end, though, is the finished, approved version of the ship.
But perhaps there's always room for variance. So who knows what's going to happen there. But I mean, that is a good point. And that is another, let's reiterate that again, other than the crazy zany variance thing I just did. The point is, we're showing them the process of how these things get designed. And we throw a lot of spaghetti against the wall, and most of it falls off. But the one that Chris gets at the end is what we really want to be on. So, oh, wow. From FQ. Yeah. If the main Squadron 42 story will be released in episodic content, what does that mean for the player in between episodes? Will the character receive citizenship and leave the military after the first episode? And if not, how will it be handled if the character is still enlisted?
Well, Squadron 42 is going to finish before the persistent universe goes.
Right.
So basically the reason we're pushing out episodes is so that we can get content to you people as quickly as possible. But yeah, that won't be a problem.
Right, and that's really good. So, and I'm looking forward to some of the stuff they're working on with Haddock and Schimmel and Aaron and those guys in the UK. It's going to be super fun.
It's an awesome team out there.
It is a really good team. It's going to be fun for everybody to play. From Sir Malachi, will there be a criminal code for the whole universe, or does every system have its own laws?
Well, in the UEE, I mean, there's one rule set. I mean,
Right.
it's a unified government. So
It's kind of like the world, isn't it? The United States has one set of rules. Germany has a little variations of, and
Sure. So like the Xi'an might have different rule sets, and
Might
the Banu-
have.
Well, will.
yeah.
And then there may be locations where they have their own local rules to add on top of that. But if UEE's after you, the rules are consistent.
So if there's some area that's the border worlds and there's some zany people ahead of it, they'll have their own rules to
There might be some wackos out there.
That's pretty cool. I like that. From Karoon, if I land on a planet and get out of my ship to explore some ruins, is it possible for someone to hack the lock on my ship and steal it? And can you lose your ship?
Little Slim Jim.
Yeah, right. Slim Jim the lock open.
We need videos of that right away.
Yeah.
So no, we're not going
Right.
to let people steal ships in that way.
Yeah, planets, we've talked about this before. PlanetSide is a safe environment. It's a place to go down to get missions, to meet people, to talk, to hang out. It's a relative. Most PlanetSide environments are a safe environment. That's a good catch. You're right. From Chompers, he says, will our character need to eat, sleep, use the toilet? And if not, why? Why don't I have to use the toilet, Rob?
That sounds like a personal question.
Yeah,
to
that
me,
is not a good
but,
question. But the point is, come on.
Yeah, no,
Are we
I
going to
mean,
force players to use the toilet?
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's not fun. That's just not fun to
So
have
we're
to
making
do
a
that
game, is
stuff.
what you're
It's
saying.
like they never stop and use the bathroom on 24, and there's a reason for that, because it's not interesting.
Right.
So if you want to use those things, we have those in the game for immersion's sake, if you really want to interact with your ship. But we're not going to force you to do that.
Right. It's interactive environments. It's things for people to do for fun. But you're right. That's not not something that gameplay-wise that is crucial. So good answer. So, well, I want to thank you for joining us this week. It was a fairly quick and responsive forum feedback, and now it's time for Ben Lesnick with this week's English lesson in most valuable post.
Hey everybody, welcome to MVP, Most Valuable Post. I'm Community Manager Ben Lesnick.
And I'm Lead Moderator Will.
Well, welcome back. All right, Will, what do we have for them this week?
This week, our MVP is Synnik, and he has created scenario threads where he asks users, what would you do in specific situations, such as coming out of a jump point and seeing a pirate ship just sitting there. It's pretty cool to see what everybody's come up with and what their answers are.
Yeah, I've read this thread, it just reminds me of playing Zork when I was a kid, and thank God for high-powered graphics cards. You are sitting on a Constellation's bridge. There is a bejeweled egg. I don't know what we do, but it's a great thread, and it's a lot of fun if you guys want to join in over there.
Yep.
See you next time.
And this week's fan focus goes out to Mr. Phelps. He decided to take a look at some glorious old movie posters and put them into the Star Citizen universe. Things like Chris Roberts in Dogfight Afternoon, and Sandi and Louise, the 20th anniversary edition, Driving Miss Daisy, Avengers Symbol, the big Lesnick, that's hilarious, and then Sadaball, and Prepare for Glory 300i, that's hilarious, and of course, my personal favorite, Saving Private Ryan. Good job, Mr. Phelps. You're this week's fan focus.
So why do psychics have to ask you your name?
I've often wondered that myself.
What's up, Peterson?
It's Peric Peterson to you, sir.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Wait a minute. Before we go any further, how's that wingman's weight going? We haven't talked about it in a while.
No. Wingman's weight is going.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
steady incline.
Well, it's going one direction.
Yeah. Mine is as well. So you don't have to feel bad about that.
Yeah. Don't worry. We're gonna get back on that later. But thank you so much for bringing that up.
Hey, no problem, man.
I appreciate
the fans
that,
wanted to know.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for that.
Sure.
So look, we did a bit today on the creating of the Asteroid hangar in the room system. Now,
we did.
You're intimately involved in that, and
I am.
Yep. So how does that work? What is going on with that? How do you manage studios that are no longer around us?
So we work with the Behavior guys, which those are the guys up in Montreal. Love those guys, and I want to officially say that I'm sorry for butchering every single one of those guys' names. I mean, it's like what are his names? Corentin, but it's Corentin, you know. Every time, I'm sure they hate me because every time
I can confirm that, by the way.
Every time I blow that, and Matthew. Yeah, you got to get the and I butcher it every time, and I'm gonna formally say I'm sorry for that.
Cool.
Anyway, those guys are really talented, man.
I agree.
We have Skype meetings with them twice a week, which you know,
I do.
You sit in.
But I'm pretending not to.
Yeah, you sit in on them. You know how good they are. Yep. So usually what we do is especially with like the Asteroid hangar, which is what we're currently working on, we'll do. It's usually about an hour meeting-ish, maybe sometimes more, maybe sometimes less, depending on what we're doing. But we usually do a full walkthrough of it with them, and just point out things that could conceivably be better about it, maybe things to consider in the future, like when they're working on stuff. Currently, it's kind of what we call a gray box stage, which that is like, there's a white box stage, which is like straight white boxes,
right?
And that's just for mostly design.
Block out.
So design can like figure out like the pathing, and they figure out like, okay, if there's gonna be like a firefight in here, then where's the cover, what's the cleanest way to get from A to B. And then after that it goes on to a gray box, which the gray box is actually, it gets a little more detailed. Right. The boxes become higher detailed, higher resolution for the model, and then they start putting textures on. So I think they're a little farther than that. Yeah, they actually have textures on them.
Yeah.
And they're starting to kind of light while they res things up. So it's really cool, man. it's been a great process with those guys because they're talented. So it's always like, every time I see it, it's just like, whoa.
That is fun part of our job, is getting to see stuff, because every time there's like further iteration, it looks even better. So they're doing the room system and the seed system or whatever. And so how are we going to use the room system? And I think, Rob, you'll be using a lot of it as well, but how are we planning to use it, and why is it important?
So the Asteroid hangar is actually their kind of test bed for the room system. Now the room system, what that's going to do, which is really cool, it's going to allow the user to add on different rooms and be able to place things in those rooms and fill them up kind of as they will. You know, with as you guys know, there's already, we have like posters and
fish tanks,
flare stuff that we put out there, and obviously if we just keep shoving them in these hangars, it's going to be like Sanford and Sons pretty soon. It's getting a little crazy.
It looked like a Christmas yard with all the plastic stuff everywhere.
Right. So what we decided, what would be good is if you have rooms that show up off of your main hangar, like a dude cave.
It's your
or a trophy room,
or a trophy room, or
residence.
And it's not just that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to add later as far as different functionality and usability for these rooms. But I mean, one of the big things is like, where are you going to store your crap? And that's a good place, right there.
Well, firing range will eventually
move back there.
Yeah, that's going to be moved. So all that stuff is going to be, kind of compartmentalized, where you can, you don't have it all in one big hangar. You can move from room to room and expand on your rooms and be able to put
personalize it. I mean, it's a big deal. People like to personalize their stuff, and so
I think it's going to look. I think it's going to be awesome.
It is going to
Sure,
look good.
we're
We're building
bathroom in there.
The bathroom, of course.
Well, of course.
But we're going to be building
We're
this
going to
out.
put your crap.
Where are you going to put your crap? Oh, man. Yes, indeed.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
We're professionals here.
Outside of where you're going to put your crap, what do you do at CIG? Folks want to know what an art director of, what do you do?
God, I wonder that every day. What do I do?
So
Me
do
too.
I.
I know you do. Why do I give this man a paycheck? I handle a lot of different things, actually. I put out fires. I manage the internal art team, so I walk around desk to desk and see what they're doing and give them art feedback. A lot of the things, like you saw, I think it was in the hangar last week, I think, was what I do is I will take concept and then I will analyze it and then have it built. And then while it's being built, I'll retool it, and make sure that it fits within a 3D world. Because there's a lot of times that, you've got really talented concept guys, but unfortunately, when you start breaking it down and putting it in the real world, sometimes things just don't work. And that's one of the things that an art director does, is make sure that that stuff works real time in a real world and make sure it's coherent. So.
Cool, and I know you're busy. I know we've got a lot going on right now, art-wise.
Not busy, not at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
So speaking of that, right?
Yes.
Have you ever been on a more ambitious project than this?
Absolutely, positively not.
Yeah, me either.
I mean, it is absolutely the most ambitious, the most like full steam ahead, vision, let's do this, just point and shoot project I've ever been on. And it's just been a crazy roller coaster ride of insanity. And it's awesome.
I know.
It's awesome.
It's like, it is.
It's just hold on and, try not to fall out of the roller coaster.
You're hanging on the back of the roller coaster.
I mean, it's pretty intense, and it's
right.
We've been able to acquire a lot of good talent to help us make this happen, and it starts with Chris. So it's been pretty crazy, and I know
it's cool because, man, we have definitely got a vision. You know what I mean? He knows what he wants, he knows where he's going, and we are just along for the ride, man, and making it happen.
We're making it happen, exactly. So you are on the next great starship.
I am?
Yeah, and you're there with
I don't know what
some
you're
guys.
talking about.
You got Chris there. You got Sandi. You've got Hobbins from the
Got
LA
my
office.
shirt.
I see the shirt.
Got that
You got Chris Olivier, Chris
awful
Smith, and
shirt.
you from the Austin office.
Yeah.
So they look good. And so what's going on with the gold shirt here?
What's not going on with the gold shirt? That's what I want. I think everything's going on with the gold shirt, man. Look at this thing. It's beautiful. Rob, you want to attest to the smell? Give that thing a whiff.
Give it
a whiff. You want me to get you in a headlock? I'll get you in a headlock.
No. So,
definitely.
but that is like a trademark now, and fans have actually they're voting on what to do with it.
Yeah, it's a whole forum thread now. I think a lot of people want it maybe burned at the last episode, which
I'm voting for that now.
I might do that. I don't know, or maybe I was thinking maybe. Like put it up for auction, maybe for a charity or something.
That's not a bad
Might
idea.
be cool.
The Wingman's Hangar charity.
By charity, I mean me. No, I won't do that. That would
Charitable
be terrible.
Skelton.
Yeah, that would be terrible. I wouldn't do that. Other things, I don't know. There's a lot of things. Maybe people were talking about maybe giving it away at PAX. Maybe. I don't know.
I think it'd be too early to give away PAX because
you're still gonna need it.
The next great
That's
Starship
true,
goes a little ways longer here.
That is true.
Now you have to admit, and I've been kind of shocked by this. The teams, there's some talent out there making some stuff.
It is so impressive, especially it's impressive how they're taking feedback from us because so we have Shotgun, which is our kind of internal feedback visual forum, and they're hooked into Shotgun. So I see their progress like from day to day, and oh my gosh, man, it is mind-blowing, like some of the stuff. I mean, you guys will be super impressed. Like just from like what it was 3 days ago until like now, it's like, man, they're taking all of our feedback and taking it to heart and really like working hard on it.
So for them, it's a passion project, and
it
fits right into what we're doing here. Everybody on our team, it's a passion project.
Yeah, it's great, man.
So I'm not going to ask your favorites because I don't want to skew the competition, but I know that
I do have favorites. I won't say what they are.
I'm sure you do. But, I do too. Who doesn't, right?
Right.
And we've got what, 12 left right now in the competition?
I believe so.
Because 2 got put back in, right?
Right. The fans saved them.
Good.
That's true.
Are we happy with the fans' choices?
Yes, I was, because I got kind of overruled on a few things, but that's okay. That's why there's 5 of us. That's why we disagree a little bit about things, and that's cool.
Right,
so
right.
It's no big deal.
So,
but let's just say maybe one that I really liked maybe got put back in.
Got put back in?
Yeah.
Well,
so
sweet.
We're okay.
You didn't go home and like vote 1,000 times.
Maybe.
Maybe you did. All right, man. I appreciate that. Thanks, Mark and Rob, for joining us. And
you're welcome.
Want to thank subscribers and pledgers for allowing us to do this show, and we really appreciate that. Next week we have the Turbulent team. We're going to do an update on organizations. The next great Starship, by the way, which Mark was in and is still in, is going on a hiatus to give teams a little chance to get their concepts and ships a little further down the pipeline. So look for features in place coming up from dogfighting about who's behind it, what's going on with it, to kind of replace that time slot on Fridays for the next great Starship. And we have PAX East and the dogfighting reveal coming up April 10th. Going to be a good time. If you're not going there, you should go because it's going to be fun. We want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is where you get information. You find out when we post a video, you'll get an email right away. You'll know exactly what's going on. Submit your questions. My God, I'm fumbling all over my language.
What the heck is going on?
I don't know
over
it, man.
here?
Submit your questions on
Stop
the RSI.
chewing on your tongue.
I don't know. My tongue tastes like a tongue. So get your questions in on the RSI forums, and we'll be able to answer them. You always look forward every Monday or Tuesday or Thursday or Friday or sometimes Wednesday, and get those questions in there. Any day of the week, just look. And if you come join Wingman's Hangover 15 minutes after the show, and I should be able to speak by then.
I doubt it.
Yeah. It just joins a little inside kind of...
Too much hookah.
Yeah, too much hookah. Sort of an inside kind of informal, shocking, talk with each other, Skype channels, things like that on the chat roll on the RSI forums. 15 minutes after the show. And remember, if you want your stuff featured on Wingman's Hangar, send it in. We just might use it. Where are we going to see them, guys?
In the verse!